Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us dedicated Apple Vision Pro users as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Gensius, a faculty member at a Midwest University, podcaster, and an Apple product fan.
Oh, and I'm Eric. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently photography of plants, birds, and panoramic sequences.
I'm Dave Ginsburg. I'm the host of the In Touch with iOS podcast. I'm passionate about technology, especially Apple, and use it in a real-world experience as a 27-year IT professional and iPhone subject matter expert. I learn new things about Vision Pro every day when it works.
David's having a moment right now. We might as well. We might as well start with this. So Dave's going to be in the grumpies today.
Okay.
Because go ahead, David. Why don't you tell what happened?
That's all I got to do is there's on the camera right there. If anybody sees that. Exclamation point.
Okay. The triangle with the exclamation point. So how'd that happen?
It was installing beta. The latest version just came out today, and I took it off to let it do its thing and put it back on. All of a sudden, it was a black screen, and then it wouldn't boot back up. But then I didn't realize it was on the screen because I had the D-band thing on, and I took that off. Then I saw it.
Oh, okay. Well, I better look at mine. I was trying to load this before the show and figured I just wouldn't get to it.
Me too.
So I took it off my head. Yeah, well, I took it off my head and put it aside, and then you came on and told me, yeah, I just took it off, and then I got this thing. I'm like, oh no. So I might try and load the beta after the show and see if I can get it to go. But and hopefully you get this. And you're going to be traveling with it to MacStock. All of us will be.
And
so you got to get it fixed. You got to get it reset. And again, I think there's a way. I mean, I did it one time where I held a combination of buttons, and maybe when I'm blabbing on and on, somebody can look this up. But I held a combination of buttons that took me back to the factory reset essentially on it. And it was cumbersome, but it got it to work. And it was after I had just put a beta in. The beta forced me to go back to do a complete reset on it. So anyway, that is the news today, or one bit of the news today is that there is a beta out. And it's been a strange day today because I saw this sometime around noon because I was really looking to see if there was any new betas out and whether we'd get one. And the first article that came out was watchoS 26 and visionOS 26 developer betas are out. And of course, they don't have very much information on what changes. The watchoS beta addressed an issue that affected Hermes Apple Watch models, causing them to overheat and crash, but they don't have a lot to say about what's going on with Vision Pro. The other thing that I became aware of is there are some release notes out on the visionOS 26 Beta 3 release notes. And what's the number on it, Eric? We've got that in the show notes. It's 23M5 290
OF.
OF. Is it an OF? I think it's a number.
Oh, is it? No, it's a 0F. Sorry.
Yeah, 0F. Yeah. And you can find out. We'll have the link for the show notes in terms of the beta, so it will be available for you to see this link if you want to go through all the details. But I did a quick kind of mashup of it, ran it through ChatGPT, and what it says is available as a result of this is system app and fixes. Apps will crash less often and run more smoothly. App updates and downloads are going to be more reliable, and pop-up menus will behave better. Game control improvements. There's game controllers work better. It includes smoother switching, and you can move app windows again after using a game controller. I guess that was a problem. Apple Intelligence, there'll be smarter on-device AI, which will be available for developers, which is important. Also, App Store subscriptions, new accessibility information shows which apps support features like VoiceOver. Better tools for subscriptions will be available. Media and video, better video playback in music and immersive videos with fewer crashes or glitches, and an improved syncing with iCloud, especially with the media stuff. Cloud sharing works better, stronger security for VPNs, immersive reality features, 3D apps and effects with are more stable, and the Mac to Vision Pro streaming has fewer bugs and looks better. Then some typing and text fixes that have occurred in it. So it's a pretty good list. I will post this list also in the show notes. So they're going to be rather lengthy show notes tonight, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll give it a crack and I'll try and upload it and see if we can find a solution for Dave instead of. Now, Eric, you said you had the same thing happen. You wound up having to go to the Apple Store.
Not in this version. It was
Okay.
a few months ago, and that was a regular OS update. It just didn't work. And it actually happened to me twice. Once with an update, and once when I was trying to wipe it to let somebody else use it.
Yeah.
And then it just never came back. And they were pretty good about it. I guess the store gets a couple of attempts to make it work, and if that doesn't work, then they have to send it in. So encourage them to keep retrying until it works, because it's faster.
All right. So yeah, the new beta's out for what it's worth, and for if it will cause problems or not, we'll find out. I just didn't have time to load it before the show. It said 8.4 gigabytes, so it's a good size update. And then I had it sitting aside waiting for it to load up, and then David came on and said, "Ooh." And I was like, okay, maybe I'll stop this. Or I put the headset back on and hadn't actually started it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try and do it now, but I am going to try and do it. Some new things. Apple, and these stories just came out in the last couple hours. So I went on and found them, and pretty proud of the fact that we've got these stories as they break, in a sense. But Apple buys two firms to improve Apple Intelligence and Apple Vision Pro. Personas for Apple Vision Pro, they've bought a firm called True Meeting, which lets users scan their faces with their iPhones and produce an AI avatar image. The company's official site has been removed, but True Meeting claimed to be making hyper-realistic digital twins of the users. Then the Common Ground human AI technology then integrated with other apps ranging from games to communications such as video conferencing. So it looks like Apple is trying to improve or create much more natural personas as a result of this. I don't know. I think they keep getting better and better with it. I don't know what your feelings are about personas. I kind of feel like enough is enough. How much better does it need to be functional? I mean, it's functional now, but any ideas?
Well, getting to the point where you can back up a persona to your phone and take it with you and restore it again later if you have to either go to another Vision Pro or restore the Vision Pro without having to rebuild the
Oh,
persona. I'm hopeful for.
That's a very cool idea. The rest of the article talks about Apple purchasing Y Labs, which is concerned with monitoring AI large language models and ultimately preventing hallucinations. So they're trying to, I think, build some of that into it in terms of that. So interesting stories about acquisitions. And then a couple of articles on patents. This also just appeared in the last couple hours. And, actually, when I was searching for it, the first find I had is Swedish, that it was released on a Swedish Mac. I think it was Macworld Sweden. And I couldn't find the Patently, and then I tried to get into Patently Apple, and I was having trouble getting into the site. So I shut off some of my, pop-up blockers and stuff like that, and eventually got into the site and was able to get the article up. And then I further searched and found that Macworld had done an article. Well, Macworld did the Swedish article on it. But let's take a look at what Patently Apple has to say. Essentially, Apple invents a predictive touch detection system for future HMDs that could significantly enhance user experience. The idea here is that Apple has got this, is trying to create the patent is trying to create a schema where Apple can can use the gestures. Now we already have some of that with Vision Pro, but it almost feels like they're trying to make it more Minority Report. Like, here's a square in space, and I want to touch at a point on that square, and I want to swipe that square over here. That kind of manipulation is what this patent is about, and it's just real interesting. I think, you can see a little of it you can see a graphic from the article where the person has a headset on and is touching something in space. So it allows for things like tapping, swiping, pinching in midair, those kinds of things. And curious if there's any reaction to that.
And anything that can give better, faster feedback is good. There are times, especially if you're in a darker room where you go to interact with something and there's a little bit more of a delay. So if they can make that a little bit more responsive, or if you're doing something where everything should know you're interacting because you're typing letters into a keyboard. Actually, frankly, the one thing that would be really good is that virtual keyboard. If it could be a little bit more responsive and a little bit more accurate, that would be worth a lot. So hopefully this will help with that.
Yeah, this is the Macworld article, and we have a link to that in the show notes. But it predicts both where your fingers approach, or what they call the make, and leaves, what they refer to as the break, in a virtual surface. Reacting even before you touch anything, it reduces the latency and makes the interface feel faster and more intuitive. So-called fuzzy zone prevents incorrect interpretations by only activating the function when the finger is close enough to touch the object. So it can adapt to such things on the gesture, for example, distinguishing between an intentional tap and an unintentional movement. So it sounds pretty cool if they can get it to do what it's going to do.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. This next topic came out just, I think, the day after we did our last show, and it flooded the news feeds, and that is about a senior Vision Pro engineer taking massive volume of secrets plans to snap. D. Lu of San Jose told Apple that he was resigning his position as a designer engineer to spend more time with his family and look after his health. But he'd secretly taken a job with the rival, Snap, and before leaving Apple, the iPhone giant, he stole a massive volume of its trade secrets, Apple alleges in the lawsuit. Because Mr. Lu did not inform Apple that he was departing to work in another company's product, Apple got sloppy, I guess is the best way to say it. And they just said, okay, we'll let you have standard 2-week notice and we're going to keep your access available. And without monitoring his access at that point, it's kind of hard to believe for me that Apple was not better on this in resolving this. Just seems really strange. But, you know, he downloaded a bunch of stuff and then uploaded it to his iCloud or his a cloud-based service. Thousands of documents. I don't know if you wanted to like stay up late at night and read them again, or, you know, and this article says that, you know, Snap is not being held accountable for this, but I'm sure there's got to be some communication to ensure that he hadn't passed any of that material on to a competitor. Guys, reactions?
Yeah, I was a little concerned about this, that the way he actually did this. Was it blatant? You don't know. I mean, Apple's been kind of hush hush about this, so you really haven't had any real noise about it, other than, you know, being reported in this article from last week. We talked about it too last week as well.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to know, you know, if you'll hear that. But I mean, there's a lawsuit. I don't know if this is going to be a criminal lawsuit or if this going to just be a civil lawsuit. But it's definitely going to be something to keep your eyes on to see what happens, because this is not cool, honestly.
Yeah. Dave, you're connected to industry, and does this whole setup seem like was well executed?
As far as
Apple
the way
protecting their stuff.
So we don't know the whole story, and I think back to it when we talked about it originally, that, you know, we don't know the whole story, what happened, other than, okay, he took all this stuff, and I just find it hard to believe that Apple would be that blatantly disregard, or just even know if they. I know that he did tell them that he was going to go spend time with his family, but you still got to protect your assets. Because most companies these days, cyber security is of utmost importance. And they're going, and I guarantee you, once they know there's a 2-week notice that's being levied from an employee, that they're going, especially if somebody's as insensitive as what he was involved in with Vision Pro, because it's still a work in progress product. So we don't know the whole story. That's why I said I don't want to really speculate. Originally I did, but I'm kind of backing off on that, because there's got to be two sides of the story before you really place any judgment. But still, if he did do this, you know, I think that's pretty crappy, honestly.
Well, and Apple's always been really good with people who are retiring or, you know, leaving, not to go to work somewhere else, so that they can finish up and, you know, leave in a more relaxed manner. But after the last time that they lost a bunch of stuff, they put a bunch of processes in place, so if large numbers of files moved, that there were alerts. And it looks like that's what triggered this time, is a whole pile of files moved, and that then had them go through and do an investigation and look at the laptop and look at what actually moved. So in that sense, I think they learned their lesson the last time, and you know, had things in place to notify them if something went wrong. And for the company that he was going to, Snap, this is actually a huge problem because now there are all kinds of products that they can't easily develop without fear that there was some sort of contamination. So I'm sure Snap is being really careful to stay as far away from those documents as possible. So I guess I don't find really any fault with Apple in this case. I think their system to notify them that something weird was going on seemed to work, and having enough of a relaxed system that you can retire over 2 weeks and clean up and finish communications with people, I think is a nice feature working for them. So I would hate to have them have to change that. So yeah, it's it wasn't in this article. There was another article I came across that mentioned moving documents into a folder with a different name and then transferring it to his iCloud account. So maybe that was the intent problem, not just cleaning up documents or reviewing things. But again, I'm sure a lot of that is just going to wait until after they get through all the court stuff.
Yeah. I just want to mention we have 2 people in the chat room. Oshkosh Josh wishing me a happy haircut.
Did you get a
I don't know
haircut?
what that's. No, I didn't get a haircut. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks. And then Brian, who's I like how Dave and Marty are promoting the Phoenix Suns with their mic covers. Well, Dave, Brian, guess what? I've just switched to Cubby Blue, so you'll have to switch. You'll have to deal with that, Brian, in terms of good luck. Brian can never find an opportunity to talk where he's not ready to promote Arizona teams, and worse than that, the Green Bay Packers.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the Packers. That's
all right.
Won't get us derailed.
Let's not get derailed. Yeah. So let's see. What are we? Okay. And then this article came out again, a rumors article about M5 chip rumored to debut in these 5 Apple products later this year. I'm just curious. I mean, they're talking about Apple Vision Pro. They're talking about the iPad Pro. They're going to come out with a new iPad Pro that has a OLED thinner and a display in a much thinner design, but it's also going to have this M5 chip. The Vision Pro currently has an M2 chip. And then the MacBook Pro, we just had a MacBook Pro not long ago with an M4 in it. And the Mac Mini, which just came out with M4s. And then the iMac, which I think was an M3 at the time of its last release.
Yep.
So guys, batter up. Which one do you think is going to get the M5, or which ones do you think are going to get the M5?
I wouldn't be all surprised if Vision Pro gets it, only because it'll be a silent upgrade. They're not going to really make a big deal out of it other than being I don't even know if it'll be a press release. They'll probably just do it. The iPad Pro is overdue. It's 2024. I've got the M4 Pro 13-inch right now, and just paid it off too. And it's I think it's due for another upgrade, but they'll do more than just, like they said, maybe make it thinner, take a little weight off on the 13-inch. And as far as the iPad Pro goes, I don't see it going in the Air. I say that they may stick with the M3. Potentially, they could upgrade it to the M4. Hard to say on the Air. Mac Mini, I don't know. I question it. It might happen. It might be just a quiet upgrade. Because the M4 is you and I both know it, Marty. Oh no, you have one too, right, Eric?
Yep.
That M4 Mac Mini is a screamer. I mean, it's
a
insane.
nice machine.
It really is. It really is. And I've got the M4 Pro as my primary. Even the one I have the M4, the M4 model that I have as a secondary beta device, and still pretty gosh darn good machine. iMac should get an upgrade. I would venture to say MacBook Pros. Yeah, I think those are ready. So I mean, I think processor upgrades aren't going to be overly exciting, and that's the thing. Is Apple not coming up with some new stuff? And that's where it doesn't get a lot of people really excited. And sometimes, well, even with the way the market's been going lately, you wonder, the stockholders are going to start questioning, hey, is Apple innovating anymore? Well, yeah, they're doing that. They're innovating their processors, and in the iPhone and the iPad, we may see more the C1 chip, for the modem. That their in-house modem. They'll probably start seeing that and all that. I bet you that the alleged iPhone 17 that comes out, with probably a few more models will probably end up having that.
Yeah, they talked about the iPhone 17 Air potentially having the C modem in it. The rest of them sticking with Qualcomm. People are still buying iMacs.
I don't think it's they still. I think they do some in education. I don't know if you see it, Eric, but I've got a doctor that I go to that has all iMacs at her front desk, and I think she just bought the newer iMac. She had one of the older ones. They're still using it, but it's still a perfectly good machine. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they get as overly excited about it. I mean, and we're also talking about, on the desktop side, they still haven't done anything with the Mac Pro, and then the Mac Studio, the high end models. They don't even mention that.
I never say never, but a chip upgrade at this point for me, having just upgraded my machines to M4s, just does not make sense for so I might be skipping to the M6s or something like that. It just, I'm going to save my money aside for a new Vision Pro and maybe glasses when they come out. That's going to be kind of my focus. But I've got a Mini and I'm not using the Mini at an M4. Why would I upgrade it to an M5? I'm doing all my stuff on my studio, which has been upgraded.
Yeah.
So
you've got a full array of Macs. I mean, I'm still sporting this M1 MacBook Pro 16-inch, which still was a perfectly good machine.
Yeah.
Do I just move over to the Mac Mini and just use that because it's the daily driver that sits at my desk all the time? I don't take this M1 MacBook Pro 16-inch out too often because it's so gosh darn heavy. And then I have a MacBook Air that I travel with all the time. That's an M3 that is a perfectly fine laptop. I mean, it's a good driver that I use all the time when I'm traveling.
Yeah,
that's the machine I'll use at MacStock. I mean, I bring that with me. I'll bring that with me because why do I want to lug around a big 16-inch MacBook Pro for traveling?
Yeah, I'll probably overpack myself with equipment.
I know you will. And I'm almost thinking about having a separate suitcase just for gear.
Seriously.
I was seriously thinking about that now.
One of those large plastic clear, bins that you can get.
No, I'm just going to get like a small suitcase that I'll just load up as my second suitcase. Because I can bring in the Vision Pro or bring in my MacBook Air or bring in probably a podcast gear and microphones and all kinds of fun stuff. So.
Yeah, I bought some additional. I bought a multi-port kind of connector for my MacBook Air because I know I'll be bringing that. And what else I bring, I'm not sure. Anyways, let's get out of that talk.
Let's get back to Vision Pro.
Well, yeah, sort of. Yeah, let's get back to Vision Pro. And I'm don't know how much time we want to spend on these, but I have a general 3 articles that are about industry engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one I picked up was Apple Vision Pro enters Industry 4.0 with Dassault Systems. And I don't know if you had a chance to delve into this very deeply, but apparently they're working with they have a 3D experience platform, and they're working to bring that virtual 3D space in through Apple Vision Pro. Um, any comments on this?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look through this one. So is this relating to manufacturing? 'Cause I probably wouldn't have too much
Yeah.
insight on this.
Um,
I mean, really, anything where you can get together with people without having to get on an airplane and fly to a facility is a good thing.
Yep.
So being able to put a bunch of people in a room and bring up whatever it is you're working on in a realistic way, it is a plus, and it's the fastest way you can do it if you're not all sitting in the same spot. So it really doesn't surprise me. I think there's going to be a lot more of this. And it's a lot easier to bring somebody in to consult on something if there's a question, or if you need to do a last minute change because the pricing on some component all of a sudden for some unknown reason went up by, I don't know, 25% for some reason, and you need to swap in something else from a different location. This is a way to get together, meet, see what it looks like, and have somebody be able to review and sign off. So
yeah, with this Dassault connection, I hope I pronounced Dassault connection. They talk about a couple of things that I think is pretty exciting. Imagine, for example, you're working to develop industrial machinery of some kind. Using these tools, you could build a virtual representation of the machine and use the built-in AI to put your creation through virtual real-world tests to identify problems in the design and find improvements. This is going to be considerably less expensive and risky than actual physical prototyping. Alternatively, when assessing devices for maintenance, the digital twin can show how things are meant to work, helping identifying ongoing flaws. So this is really kind of a nice wedding of manufacturing, design, manufacturing, and AI, and VR, AR, I should say. So that's kind of neat. That's exciting. Second article is on Stock Titan, and they are talking about a wearable device like a wristband that they've developed. This is XR Fair in Tokyo is leading the B2B exhibition dedicated to technologies and solutions in virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and the broader metaverse ecosystem. Wearable devices offer its technology across two distinct markets. Gestures like tap, pinch, wrist flick are becoming more natural ways to control smart glasses and face worn devices. And the wrist based gesture control is quickly becoming a standard in wearable devices that led to this shift with years of innovation in real world deployment. So it's interesting that they're talking about this wearable device that is they're developing that seems to be part of a wrist device from Wearable Devices Limited is the company that's doing that.
Yep, they were
And
they were
then
at CES and they won the innovation award recognition too. That product.
really
So it says in the
for
article.
ah
Product compatibility across multiple major platforms and AR glasses brands.
nice.
oh, very cool. And it of course is on a site called Stock Titan. So I don't know if
you
this
find these good
meant
obscure articles. I'm impressed with you.
And I'm losing my voice over it. Last thing, I'm going to have Eric talk about this, and I'm going to clear my throat. Eric, you put in jig space. Why don't you talk about
Oh,
that?
jig space, jig space. This
Yeah,
oh, thought you were gonna
yeah.
do the mixed reality training. Hang on a minute. Jig space, jig space. Let me find the article.
It's the first link.
Losing it. um Oh, yes, Jigspace. That's the one where it's existed for a while. They had like a jet engine you could take and put in front of you and rotate around and pull apart. But now they have an F1 car that you can drop in front of you. You can pull the engine cowl off. You can pull the seat out. You can look at the driver display, the engine, move everything around. I think they have a section where you could actually watch a airflow diagram. Very cool. Uh, Highly recommend it, especially if the movie, so you can go watch F1 and then afterwards go put a car out and then look at the tires and look at the vehicle and look at all the different parts and how they all interact together. And since unless you can actually get to a track to look at a car and nobody's going to let you do that, there is not another way to get that close of a look. Um, it's just really cool. And I'm not even a
Uh,
car fan. I just enjoyed it.
Well, it's interesting to see where they capitalize on how the popularity of the F1 cars, of course, with the movie.
Yeah,
But F1 in itself is very popular overall with the having lots of races. They have the one race that's in Vegas, and Chicago just had the NASCAR race here over this past weekend that they shut down a bunch of streets and set up a race course throughout the downtown area. So it seems like it's a thing with this. But even with the F1 cars, they do the same thing in Vegas. So. But yeah, I think the F1 movie with Brad Pitt, I think, is generating a lot of interest, and why not? I mean, F1 cars are pretty technology crazy what they do, and
very.
I didn't know anything about it until I saw I haven't seen the movie yet, but I saw when you see the trailer and you see all the technology it's in the cockpit there, it's like, wow.
And little teeny tiny changes having all kinds of neat effects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eric,
So
do they show those movies up there in northern Wisconsin or north central Wisconsin where you're
IMAX.
always, we usually get them first.
So you actually have IMAX. Oh, jeez, I fell for that. Fat chance you're getting IMAX.
Have you seen it yet, Eric, or have you had a chance to
No,
see it?
no.
Okay.
I haven't even.
I'm hoping that maybe Monday I'll have a chance.
Just on the
Next
regular
Monday.
screen.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, when you're in town, you mean?
yeah.
Maybe we should go together.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to mixed reality training as the next article that you have, which seems kind of cool.
Yeah, that was really neat. It was if you're going to be working in a plane, being able to view the cockpit, see all of the controls, see the buttons, press things in sequence and have stuff happen and actually get a feel for it and see it virtually without having to go sit in some super expensive simulator. Now, you still need to do the simulator and the real planes at some point, but if you're just reading through systems and trying to get used to it or get used to changes, this is certainly a very convenient way to do it.
Yeah, this
It
looks.
worked for other areas of the plane as well. The service areas, kitchens, where everything is laid out and stored, and it's a much easier way to remember things than turning pages in a book or a manual or something.
So, yeah, it does look very cool. And what's interesting is this stuff is showing up on Reddit. It's not necessarily making some of the typical news outlets in terms of finding it, but this comes from a couple of links come from Reddit posts. So we're glad that people are posting these short videos of these new applications and how they're being used.
And this
All
one
right.
was neat too,
Yeah.
because if you were a pilot, you could actually send email to the company and get added into test flights. So you could actually test the simulation and give feedback to the company, which was kind of
So
cool.
they're crowdsourcing feedback on their designs.
Well, I guess this is a way of finding a bunch of people that have Vision Pros and are pilots
Yeah.
and can try it out.
Yeah, and hopefully they're not wearing their Vision Pros while they're piloting.
I don't think that's allowed.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to another topic. This is, and I'm dying to find out about this, Eric. Did you get a survey?
Yes.
Okay.
I did
Yes,
too.
I
All
did.
right. You did too. Wow.
I
I
did.
must have
Did did I
deleted
think to
mine or
take
something.
did I think to take screenshots of all of the surveys so I know what all the questions are? No, I did not. I should
I
have.
didn't either.
I the last time I got a survey, I said, "Oh yeah, next time I'll remember to do," and I didn't. But the questions were interesting. Um, Things like, which strap are you using? Are you using a third-party strap? Were you using any additional components to the Vision Pro? How many hours a day are you wearing it? Were there other adjustments? What are you doing with it? Are you using it for a virtual Mac display? What are there any features that you wish were available? Uh, uh, Very, very comprehensive. Lots and lots and lots of questions, which I see as promising because given the beta updates that we've been getting, which have been coming out really pretty quickly, and the number of changes that have been coming out, it leaves me hopeful that there's a hardware update coming out soon, and they're trying to finish polishing stuff up and adding required features.
Do you think it's just coincidental that Ming Chi Kuo talked about this timeline of when glasses are going to happen and versions of it, and Apple sent out their survey? I, I, what I'd like to believe is Apple's been eyeing, and I think Apple's been eyeing wearables besides Vision Pro for quite some time, and they've gotten some criticism for not jumping into the market sooner, quicker. They're being left in the dust by Meta and Amazon Echo and Echo glasses and things like that. And I just kind of think they're trying to find out from people who use virtual headsets and have purchased Apple products what not only about the Apple product, but what would interest them in glasses, and through the survey. And it just happens this is when Ming Chi Kuo decided to do the supply chain analysis that he does and come up with his projection of when things are going to come out.
Yeah, maybe there's some relationship between them, but the um the questions were really is a broad number of questions. I mean, a broad range of questions. And I think that they're trying to figure out who are the users that use the Vision Pro a lot versus just every once in a while. And if people use it every once in a while, are they happy with that? Is that enough? And because they were also asking about what other devices did they have. Is there something where you have to reach to another device to get the feature you're looking for? um it really feels like they're kind of testing a bunch of assumptions they have to see how close they are to reality. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of this could be used for something other than a Vision Pro headset. So
Mhm.
maybe they are playing with glasses, but I it felt a lot like it really was focused on Vision Pro pretty specifically.
Yeah, do you own any, and this is a question for both of you guys, do you own any other headsets or wearables, glasses?
No.
Nope. Eric, you don't either?
Nope.
Okay.
Un-
That's
Unless you
where
want to count the old ViewMaster with the little discs that rotate through.
The talking
well,
ViewMaster?
I didn't ask you
I
that
didn't have the
specific.
talking, just the classical one. You know,
Yeah,
the
I didn't
hand
ask you.
powered.
I didn't ask you specifically because I assumed that you had one of those. Um, and then remember the one
GAF.
where you could put your phone in, and Google sent you a box essentially that you can put your phone in and do that with. I have a
Yeah.
Meta Quest 2, I have a Meta Quest 3, and I have a Meta S. And they move between my house and my son's house. I've also got the Meta Ray Bans, and and I also have a Echo glasses, which different kind of platforms do different things. I'd be real fascinated with what Apple comes out with. I'm in no rush to see what the next thing Meta is going to do, or Google is going to do, or Amazon is going to do with their glasses, because I haven't been impressed with what they first came out with. So we have a few articles on that. We have the survey article, and then a couple of articles talking about essentially Ming-Chi Kuo's. They took his prediction, and because it was a slow news couple of weeks, and they turned it into a variety of articles. So if you do searches for Apple Vision Pro articles, you get them in all different languages, and it's basically the same article that bases off Ming-Chi Kuo's projections or predictions of what's going to happen with Apple and glassware. But we've got a few of those articles in the show notes for you to take a look at. And then this one I thought was, pretty cool. It was, and I love the way it was presented. I have two versions of this article. Motion sickness for travel mode. And some of this comes again from patents. The idea that it's going to try and improve some of the what they call it, drunk movement, or drunk travel. One article referred to it as, which is a sense of feeling that you get if you're on a moving vehicle and you're wearing an immersive headset, and what's moving in the headset is not moving the same way your body's, kinesthetics are moving. So there are some additions to that's going to be that Apple's looking at in terms of design and also software primarily to deal with motion cues. And it's already in iOS 18, where they are able to present on the iPhone, if you switch it on the accessibility, very tiny dots in the corner that your eyes are enough to pick up, that it reduces it's like a gimbal. It kind of mentally, a gimbal for your brain. It kind of reduces the motion effect of it. And whether they do something similar to that within the Vision Pro, the article isn't clear about, but they're drawing from that kind of research in terms of screen and brain interface. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And Apple Vision Pro, there's another article, Apple Vision Pro, future generation can prevent drunk travel. And it's the idea that if you're wearing these things, sometimes people on planes feel a little disoriented when they finish. their plane ride, and they're wearing a virtual headset for a while. So, 3 articles that talk about the practical application of the use of Vision headset. First one talks about this is actually a Reddit connection where it was posted, and you can see the video. The guy is setting sort of like electrical
Yeah, it works really
setups
well.
through his head, because he's able to kind of put markers around the room of where he want virtually in his headset, and kind of leave them there and mark them out. Can visualize 3D floor plans, locate walls, and identify obstacles. Any reaction to this?
It works.
Yeah.
And then another article, again, a Reddit post about Ethernet. And similar post in a different area, but being able to use the glasses for establishing Ethernet ports and connections throughout the house. And then the last one is doing light design. And, in this video, this is again a Reddit connection. Someone has put together a wire mesh frame within the room that they're in, and has established kind of lighting and putting lightings, in the room, pointing in different directions. It's XR Light Designer.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool. Things that you can do. And this guy apparently designs lights for stage shows and performances, and then uses the Vision Pro as a way to be able to help with the visualization of those lights and those placements. So 3 pretty cool articles talking about the use of Vision Pro in trades and availability of use for it for, on the work site, doing various things for visualizing the way things are laid out and such. I'm going to go through a couple of articles, just mention them because I want to get to this last best apps list that came out, and just curious about your reaction to it and what it's missing or what it could have had. 2 articles that are about gaming in a sense, where we have a couple of announcements this week about VR powerhouse. Waltz of the Wizard is coming to iPhone and Vision Pro. So a game that is being ported over to be able to be used within Vision Pro. And then a second one, Wuthering Waves, is now available on Apple Vision Pro. Dive into the world of Solaris with the headset. And it looks interesting. Wuthering Waves version 2.4 trailer is in this. So if you want to see that, you can go to the app. Again, links will be in the article if you want to see the premiere and the trailer for the particular these particular games. You can find them within our show notes. And then lastly, I don't think we'll get to any apps because we can talk about what's in here. is an article that was released just July 4th, just this week, from 9 meters. And it talks about the best Apple Vision Pro apps to download in 2025. And it does them by categories. So you can see under immersive video and entertainment, Apple TV plus spatial, Disney plus immersive, Netflix environmentals, Tubular Pro, which is a YouTube and tube theater connection, Skybox and Moonlight, which we've spoken about on this, and Roddenberry Archive. Any of this connect with you guys?
No, I mean, spatial, that's already was built part into the Apple TV Plus, the Apple TV app in itself, and that's some pretty cool stuff. I didn't realize that Disney Plus had the immersive part of it. And Netflix has something with this, with the environmentals. That I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that
watch
Netflix
Stranger
hadn't even-
Things. Watch Stranger Things from a Hawkins addict or Bridgerton in a Regency ballroom. So
So you're watching this on the web?
Yeah, you're watching Netflix, but you have environments that you can sit in that are related to.
Oh, right. Got it.
The scenes that you're in. Tubular Pro. I don't watch a lot of YouTube through my Vision Pro headset because I watch it on a screen here. And I have YouTube TV. Tubular Pro is a app where it connects with YouTube. But I've got to try the Roddenberry Archive. I've got to find it and try it.
What there was another app that there's the Star Trek stuff that was included, some old archive stuff like the Enterprise and that's the same thing. Can't remember the name of it.
All right. Productivity and collaboration, Workspace Pro, infinite monitors that stay anchored as you pace or swivel. Microsoft 365 suite. Teams Persona Overlay projects a lifelike avatar so colleagues can see natural eye contact. Dave, you know about Microsoft.
Not that I should admit that.
I mean, it would be better if you could actually use the version of Teams that we use at work.
Yeah, it's just you can't get it connected yet. It installs, but I mean the biggest problem is Microsoft Authenticator getting it to authenticate.
Yep.
Zoom for Vision Pro, wall size gallery plus 3D whiteboards. You can grab and rotate. You can drop objects in. Documents VR and Image Playground and Image Wand. To Apple, Apple Intelligence kind of focused things. Creative and Design, Sketch 3D, Final Cut Pro 11 with Spatial Video Toolkit. Import 3D footage shot on Vision Pro or Vision 15 Pro, edit left and right eye views separately, and then export directly to photos for headset playback.
Oh, I'm going to have to go back and try that.
Yeah, Adobe Lightroom, the Vision Edition, immersive color grading and dome and new depth-aware masking that recognizes foreground and background at a glance, and then Adobe Aereo, where you can build AR scenes, anchor them in real-world surfaces, and test them instantly inside Vision Pro. They have some stuff for gaming and interactive experiences. And then education, exploration, Universe Explorer, Sky Guide, which I think is amazing of an app. Cell Walk is another one. and space vision. Then there's human body and time travel, where you can go to full reconstructions of ancient Rome and such. Then finally, health and fitness, mindful VR. I'm really disappointed they did not put Trip on this. Fitness space, and then sleep environment transitions your room into dark starlight sky, gradually lowering brightness, and then the built-in mindfulness app. That's part of that. So, if anything this article is going to do, the best Apple Vision Pro apps to download in 2025, and we still have a lot of 2025 to continue with. If there's anything that this app is going to do, is it's going to make you really want to go in, check some of these out, and try and find the ones that you're not familiar with, and to see what is so good about them in terms of what 9 meters thinks.
Yeah.
Moonlight is still good.
Okay. Oh, okay. And I see that we put in a link to Roddenberry.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh,
Thanks,
nice.
Dave.
Mhm.
Oh, the archive. Okay.
Yep.
That's I'm going to put that in. Of course, thank you for putting it in, but yeah, I'm familiar with the archive. I'm sure I have it as an
Yeah,
app.
that's what referenced it.
Yeah. Is there a cost to this?
I think it's free.
free. It's free.
Nice.
So yeah, you can go in, and that might be something we need to make sure we have at MacStock if people want to play with it. Because I know there are a lot of Trekkies that will be there, or Trekkies or Trekkers.
Trekkies.
Trekkies. Okay. What are Trekkers?
You made that up.
Something I made that up. Boy, I hope nobody listens to me say that. Brian's in the chat room. He mentions that lighting aspect of the app, and how it will impact things like AAA video game design in the future, like ray tracing and such. So, Brian, thank you for sharing that with the chat room.
Thanks, Brian.
Anything else we need to add for the night?
Yes. One
Okay.
thing. In photos, you know how you can take a regular photo and make it spatial? They've got that button.
Yeah.
In the beta, you still have the button. But have either of you tried taking a spatial photo and then pressing the spatial button?
I haven't tried it.
No.
Very cool. So if you take a spatial photo using your phone and you're too close to the object, like a tree branch or something, it kind of sticks out of the picture. And if you move your head back and forth, it kind of moves funny. If you hit the spatial button, it compresses all of the stuff that's stuck out of the picture, so that if you move your head, you don't get the weird object move. So it must be doing something between the right and left eye or something like that. Sometimes it's not a good effect, but it does make you less sick if you move your head back and forth while you're staring at the image. So it's interesting anyway.
It's a good tip for folks who want to check that out in terms of using the spatial button with spatial photographs to kind of flatten out some of the layers in a sense, so it's less of a distraction in terms of but there's no way to take spatial photographs and make them unspatial, is there?
You probably could. I think if you edit them, or you just take one of the eyes. I haven't tried that. I haven't wanted to. Look on your phone instead of in the Vision Pro, and then it's not spatial.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap for tonight. MacStock coming up this week. We're all taking off Thursday to get there.
3 days.
3 days, yeah. I got so much to do before then. I have so much to do. This is the middle of finals week. So I have a stack of
Wow.
finals to grade. I have emails to respond. I've got presentations to get ready. I got to pack. I got to figure out what equipment I'm going to take with me. Ugh. But if you're going to make it, great. We'll see you there. If you're not going to make it but want to know what it's about, go to max.conferenceandexpo.com. You can still get the $50 off code if you're going to show up and want to get a ticket. $50 off with the code PodTalk50. Also, if you're not going to be able to make it, take a look at the virtual ticket, because that's a good way to kind of experience it for the first time from a distance. You'll get to see everything that goes into MacStock. When the videos are done and complete about a month after the thing, you'll get access to all of the training that occurred, and then next year you'll definitely want to be there. So kind of a soft way to enter is to get a virtual ticket, and it's a little easier on your pocketbook, but you'll get all the available training without all the community, without all the fun that goes on with it. So, Dave, where can people find you and find the work that you do?
Yeah, you can find me at In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com. Hoping we're going to do a nice live episode this on the MacStock Eve, so we should call it. YouTube channel is youtube.com/In Touch with iOS. I'm here on Mondays. Pleasure always being here on Vision Profiles. I'm on Mac Voices Live every Tuesday night with these two gentlemen as well, and we do our podcast on Thursday, and I'm usually on the Mac Show in the British Tech Network on Fridays.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of the team. And Eric, where can folks connect with you?
I can be found on Mastodon at EA Bolden at mas.to. Mondays, of course, here with my visionOS stuff on Vision Profiles. Tuesdays with macOS stuff on Mac Voices, and Thursdays with iOS, iPadOS, and visionOS as well on In Touch with iOS.
Yeah, folks can connect with me at Gencius, Jencius, at mastodon.social or Jencius at bluesky.com. And, if you want to find out about the other projects I'm involved in, of course, Chuck Joyner Tuesdays with Mac Voices, and then Thursdays with Dave on In Touch with iOS, and occasionally Friday mornings with the Mac Show from the British Tech Network. But you can find all that out at the podtalk.net, the website, thepodtalk.net. Thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at thepodtalknetwork@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and other Vision Profiles, podcasts, and other stuff that we do at thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.